when we think about the progression of this media and technology, what's also happened is that there is a traditional attribution loop between offline and online and back to offline again in terms of how media is optimized, and taking the insights from both of these master categories, if you will, of the various media channels and capturing as much audience data as possible to create a more personalized experience. However, if you agree with that progression of the consumer and the voice of the customer are so important to that feedback loop, it actually becomes an extension of the data that you can capture and add back into your marketing programs with the voice of the customer, with the advancement of technology and smartphone devices that are enabled with digital ads that you can just click and call at a moment's notice. And so what we also find is that when the consumer calls a brand, those calls are also the most valuable conversations and conversions. What we find is that 61 billion calls to businesses are driven from search alone, and that 110% of those calls from digital have increased since 2014. So this is definitely showing a change in consumption behavior patterns, and it's really interesting because throughout that course of time, from a digital perspective, there's been a platform evolution and an explosion whereby there's this whole concept of walled gardens, and the whole idea of walled gardens is to keep the consumer within the walls of those gardens, keep them within that experience. But also as that has happened and you see these expanded digital experiences, the consumer is just not finding every piece of information online and are engaging more by phone. And our friends at Forrester have done research to also show that calls to businesses convert 30% faster, and they are also a higher average order value. I used to work in digital marketing, and I used to think that digital was the real-time media, but when you're not accounting for calls, you're actually missing out on the real-time conversation. So it's just something to think about in the way consumption behavior patterns have changed.